Good afternoon and welcome to USDA's fall data users meeting. I don't know how things are where you're at, but it definitely feels like fall here in Washington, D.C. today. So very timely event for us here. My name is Lance Honig. I am the chair of the NASS Agricultural Statistics Board, and for today I'll be serving as your moderator. We're certainly glad to have you all joining us today. We always appreciate the opportunity to receive feedback on our various products and services, to be able to share some updates and various pending things that might be happening across our agencies as well. And so we're happy to do that again today. But before we get into our program, I do have a few housekeeping items I want to run through. First off, we are offering closed captioning services. So for those who find it a little difficult to hear the discussion, you can find the show captions, I think is the word that's the bottom of my screen at least, button down at the bottom on the ribbon. And that should enable you to activate those services and keep up a little bit better. As we have done in the past, we will be recording this session, posting it out on the website along with any slides that we share and the Q&A transcripts from tomorrow, which will include any questions that maybe we don't have time to get to tomorrow. I should say questions and answers that maybe we don't have time to get to tomorrow. If for some unseen circumstances, we have a technical problem that makes us have to start over or do something crazy like that, our method of communicating with you will be to send an email to the email address that you used when you registered for this event. We certainly hope that doesn't happen, but in the rare occasion that it would, we just want to make sure you know where you would find the new link to join back in. Given the size of this group and quite frankly, the fact that it's a virtual event, we're not going to bother with introductions from the audience, but I will include your names when reading the questions that you post in tomorrow's open forum. So that will be our way of linking some communication back to folks there. Speaking of questions, at the bottom of the screen on the ribbon, there is a Q&A button to post questions. Although the open forum session isn't until tomorrow, you do have the ability to go ahead and start submitting those questions today. If you do that, we'll certainly capture them. You will not have to put those same questions back in tomorrow. So if you think of something now, it'd be a great opportunity for you to start submitting those. You will also see a chat window down at the bottom as well. We'll be monitoring that for any technical issues. We may also be posting some links or other items out there throughout the discussion as well. So keep an eye out for that chat button as well. If you do happen to have any difficulty on your end, one option would be to raise your hand. We'll try to see if we can reach out that way, but you also have the option of emailing Vincent Davis or Tina Hall. You see their email addresses listed on the screen here. So if you run any problems, that's a great way to communicate with them directly. They will try to solve any issues you might have. Also, I would add, if you happen to have any colleagues or others who you know wanted to join but didn't get registered, they can also send an email and we can get them added in right away. Before I forget, this is probably a perfect opportunity for me to make sure that I thank both Vincent and Tina, and more importantly, probably Marissa Ruber, who really organized everything for us here today. And so they are really the folks that are making this happen today. So I certainly want to express my appreciation to them for that. We do have a lot of attendees today, including a number of distinguished guests from around the world, including some folks from Statistics Canada, as well as Mexico's agricultural statistics organizations. We want to thank them for joining us. And then also we do have Julie Harris from EIA and Xuan Pham from RMA joining us in particular tomorrow. So just FYI, if you've got any questions for either RMA or EIA, we will have that representation with us for the open forum tomorrow as well. So next here you can see this is our agenda for today. In just a moment, our panelists will be providing you with some agency updates. Once that's complete, we'll take a short break before the first breakout session, which is scheduled to begin at 1:00 p.m. And then the second breakout at 2:05 Eastern time. I would just mention, we do plan to stick to those starting times. So if we run a little bit ahead or a little bit behind, we'll just adjust the breaks as necessary. But we know we might have some folks who were planning to join specifically for those breakouts. So we want to be respectful of that time as well. Looking ahead to tomorrow, we will be starting again at noon Eastern time, just like today. We will begin with that open forum where we'll be answering the questions that you post in those Q&A options for us. We'll work on that for a while before our third breakout session, which you can see is scheduled for 1:30 Eastern time. We should be all wrapped up by 2:30 at the latest tomorrow afternoon. Here you can see, just as kind of a reminder of what those breakout sessions are. The first session today, NASS will be focusing on the 2022 Census of Ag results, followed by the second session from AMS this afternoon as they demo their LMR live cattle data dashboard. And then our single breakout session tomorrow afternoon will be ERS focusing on the cotton, wool, and textile data that they provide for folks there as well. Next up, we have a list of our distinguished agency panelists or representatives who will be delivering some brief remarks today, providing updates on their respective programs. As I mentioned to you a while ago, you can start posting those questions for them at any time, but this is a great time for me to remind the panelists, please don't answer those questions in the Q&A because we want to make sure that we address those live in the open forum tomorrow. In the reminder email that you should have gotten probably late Friday, unless you have registered since Friday, you would have received an attached file that has some highlights from each agency. You might want to take a look at that for some additional discussion beyond what might be shared in the panelist remarks today. If you did register after Friday, you will be receiving that document here in the next day or so. And so, again, you may want to refer back to that for some additional thoughts and comments from each of the folks here today. So with that, let's get into the program. We're going to go ahead and turn things over to our presenters. I would ask that each of the panelists introduce yourself as you enter into your comments about your various agencies. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Paul Trupo at the Foreign Ag Service, who has the pleasure of being our first presenter today. So Paul, the floor is yours.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Paul Trupo. I'm a senior director at the Foreign Agricultural Service. Most of our data sets center around agricultural trade information and global crop and livestock production information. There's not much new in FAS data system since we last met, but I'll remind folks of some of the recent developments we reported on previously and a couple new enhancements to our current systems. I'm going to start with our export sales reporting system. So as previously reported, FAS is modernizing the export sales reporting system in hopes to launch it by the end of 2025. So we intend the new system to resemble the current system in terms of look, feel, usability, provide the same query options and reports that are currently available. So early next year, we hope to begin with user testing, starting with the exporters who have to enter the export and sales data, and then moving on to the data users who typically pull reports, run queries, download data, and frequently automate downloads and data scraping of our weekly reports. So the important thing to remember on the export sales system is that we will not release the new system until we've demonstrated it to all of our stakeholder community, we've trained users, and we've received and incorporated feedback from all of our stakeholders. I'm going to touch a little bit on our global agricultural production tools. So the FAS team, production team, known as IPAD, they maintain a website that is a global crop production portal, which provides world agricultural production briefs, commodity intelligence reports, geospatial applications, crop productions, crop maps, and other useful information. So based on public input that we got at a previous data users meeting, where we were asked to incorporate or centralize our databases and our production databases in a more centralized location on the main FAS webpage. Previously, we housed them on a separate server. So FAS has added to the main website a geospatial link under the data analysis page, where all of our databases, including our production tools, can be found. And they're much easier to find. So if you go to FAS, foreignagriculturalservice.gov, you should have little problem locating the production and data tools. And one of these tools is known as GADIS, which has incorporated some new features since the last meeting. So GADIS is a GIS system that integrates cropland data sets to facilitate agricultural and disaster assessments into a web-based environment. GADIS provides a variety of geospatial products, including maps, charts, and tables. So since last fall, FAS implemented a few new features into GADIS. GADIS now provides a new vegetation index, a number of heat damage days, and soil moisture data sets. GADIS also updated its tropical storm impact layers to more fully assess the history, current location, and forecasts throughout the length of the tropical cyclones. This has been especially relevant over the recent seasons. And GADIS also improved its crop seasonality information in crop calendars for several countries and crops via the Ag Profile tool. Additionally, our Crop Explorer website, also accessible via the FAS homepage, was upgraded to monitor the latest crop conditions and seasonal rainfall received for specific crops grown within our primary production states using the web applications called Corn Explorer, Soybean Explorer, etc. So we talked about those in our previous meeting, so I won't go into too much detail. In addition, our website has a country summary section for users to easily select from 115 countries, enabling a table view of country-specific crop production, crop maps, and crop calendars. So that's all I'm going to say. If you want to know more, I suggest you go to the data users booklet, and you can find a description and a link to all of these online production tools. Moving on, the 2023 Agricultural Export Yearbook. This was published on May 14th and provides summary tables and text about U.S. agricultural export developments in 2023 for major commodities and going to our top 15 markets. So the FAS website, you can access a detailed 82-page PDF with lots of detail on trends and developments last year, or a summary visualization. The visualization is relatively new. So the visualization shows a map, charts of major markets and values of our top commodities sent to these markets, as well as export growth and rankings. On the commodity side, it shows top markets and historical trends. So if you want the full detail about the year in trade, you can access the full PDF. But if you want a quick snapshot of what's happening for a particular commodity or country, the visualization is a great tool. And lastly, trade reports and spotlights. To date, FAS has published 7 trade reports on recent developments and 6 spotlights, which is just a one-page graphic and a couple paragraphs on key agricultural trades. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions at tomorrow's open session. Thank you for your attention.
All right, I guess that's the signal for me to go ahead. My name is Mark Jekanowski. I'm the chairman of the World Agricultural Outlook Board, and we're the folks who put out the WASDE report. That's the main thing we're known for. And not a whole lot new to update since we last met. So just a couple, general reminders of who we are. So we're a relatively small agency here within USDA. We have about 22 folks on staff within the World Board, including 5 meteorologists. But we at the World Board, we are actually major data users within USDA. We rely on expertise from across the department. We chair what is known as the Interagency Commodity Estimates Committee, where we collect data and expertise from all of the market relevant agencies across USDA, all of which are represented here on the panel with me today. So our goal, as always, with the WASDE is to put out the best information possible using all of the resources across USDA and to ensure that those forecasts each month truly are a USDA-wide consensus forecast. Just a couple announcements since we last met. A few staffing changes. We have earlier this summer, we hired a new cotton chair of the cotton ICEC committee. Kent Langclose is in that position now. We brought him over from FPAC within USDA. He has many years of experience within USDA and working with cotton in particular, and also has within his background, he served as an economist with the National Cotton Council several years ago too. So we're really happy to have him, and we feel like our cotton estimates are in very good hands. The other staffing announcement I'll just make, it's not actually a hire, but a retirement that's coming up. Shale Shagum, he's been our livestock chair for about 25 years. He put out his last WASDE this past Friday. He'll be retiring at the end of this week. So he's had quite a run. We're really going to miss him, and we're going to move quickly to fill that slot, to fill that position. Last thing I would note is that in addition to the WASDE, here at the World Board, we also organize and run the annual Ag Outlook Forum. So please mark your calendar for February 27th and 28th. As we've done for the past several years, the meeting will be in person at the Crystal City Gateway Marriott in Arlington, Virginia, and all sessions will also be live streamed. So live streaming, attending by live stream is free. And then, of course, if you attend in person, there will be a fee to cover the meals and facilities and whatnot. And that will be our 104th AOF, and we expect to open registration in early November. So keep an eye out for that. And I think that's all I have. So we look forward to your questions and discussion tomorrow during the open forum.
Yes, that means that I'm up next. Thanks, Marissa. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Troy Joshua, and I am the Director of the Statistics Division within NASS. Today, I will be sharing information with you about NASS, updates on what's new, and inviting you to participate either in our secretary briefings or touring our facilities. Next slide, please. NASS' mission is to provide timely, accurate, and useful statistics in service to U.S. agriculture. We publish over 400 reports annually covering 120 commodity crops, 45 livestock commodities, and 12 economics and environmental categories, in addition to the Census of Agriculture, which has over 6 million data points within it. The definition of a farm, unchanged since 1974, is any place from which $1,000 of agricultural products were produced and sold, or would normally have been produced and sold within a particular year. Next slide, please. NASS operates 12 regional offices throughout the country, and we have 2 headquarters facilities. One is located in St. Louis, Missouri, and the other one is in Washington, D.C., where I am located. We employ approximately 800 employees throughout the country, which is down from the 1,100 that we had several years ago. Now let's move, next slide, please. Now let's move on to what's new. NASS reviewed the planted and harvested acreage estimates utilizing all available data, including the latest from the Farm Service Agency. In August, we reviewed barley, corn, cotton, dry edible beans, oats, peanuts, rice, sorghum, soybeans, sugar beets, and wheat. September, we reviewed chickpeas, corn, cotton, dry edible peas, lentils, peanuts, rice, sorghum, and sugar beets. Finally, in October, we reviewed canola, dry edible beans, and sunflower. Next slide, please. Some other important dates. On May 10th, 2024, we released the field crop chemical usage data, which has been collected since 1990. This series provides USDA official statistics on on-farm chemical use, fertilizer use, and pest management practices. The fruit chemical use data released on July 17th of this year offer similar insight and is published every other year. Next slide, please. Additionally, the Census of Agriculture was released on February 13th of 2024 with a briefing streamed on NASS YouTube channel on February 14th. Additional data products are scheduled for release throughout 2024. We released data on congressional districts, watersheds, zip codes, Native Americans, demographics data, gender, as well as veterans. On July 18th of 2024, the Puerto Rico Census of Agriculture was released, conducted under a cooperative agreement with the Puerto Rico Department of Agriculture and the University of Puerto Rico Extension Service. This was the 19th census for the island. The first time it was released in 1910. Finally, we are conducting two special studies to close out this year. The first one is the Irrigation Water Management Survey, scheduled for release on October 31st of 2024. This survey provides detailed data on irrigation practices, water usage, expenses, and more. It is conducted every 5 years, with the last release in November of 2018. The Census of Aquaculture, scheduled to be released on December 16th of 2024. This survey offers comprehensive data on aquaculture products, including inventory, production, value of sales, and distribution. Next slide, please. NASS market-sensitive agricultural statistics board reports are compiled and issued under special security conditions, also known as lockup. Each year, hundreds of guests visit the lockup facility to tour the secure area and learn more about our stringent security and report procedures of the ASB. If you have any time when you're in Washington, D.C., please don't hesitate to come out and visit us or give us a call. Next slide. The Secretary's briefing are streamed on the NASS YouTube channel 5 minutes after NASS reports are released to the public. We also are available online 1 hour through our social media stat chats, and we are addressing any questions, comments, or any concerns that you may have. Next slide. If you have all of our reports are available online, and if you would like to reach out to us, please don't hesitate to call us at 202-720-3896. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to the questions tomorrow.
Okay, I think I'm up next. Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly McGuire. I am the Assistant Administrator at the Economic Research Service. I also serve as the agency's Chief Data Officer. So welcome to those of you who are new to the NASS Data Users Meeting, and welcome back to those of you who've been here before. I always like to start with the ERS mission statement, just to frame the context for my remarks. stated here, ERS's role is to anticipate trends and emerging issues in agriculture, food, the environment, and rural America. And we do that by conducting high quality, objective economic research to inform and enhance public and private decision making. There's a lot of important components in that. In that statement, I like to highlight a few. The first is we cover the entire scope of the agricultural sector. You just mind going back to that last slide for one more second, please. And we conduct economic research. So we are both data users and data producers, and I'll talk a little bit about both of those functions in my remarks. We are also one of the federal statistical agencies within the U.S. federal statistical system, alongside our sister agency, NASS, and we work very closely together. ERS's role is to provide economic analysis to inform decisions around the agricultural sector. We have just under 300 staff. About 2/3 of those folks are economists, and the other 1/3 are what we call our mission support or our mission empowering positions. So if you could go to the next slide, please. And just a few numbers about what we did in fiscal year 2024. We released over 400 publications. Those include some of the reports that you may be familiar with that are deep dives into a particular issue or topic area with a lot of economic analysis behind them, and I'll give you some highlights in a moment. We also produce a series of situation and outlook newsletters that we do in collaboration with many on this call, in particular the World Ag Outlook Board. A lot of those come out monthly or quarterly, looking at what's going on in various commodity markets. Our Amber Waves magazine synthesizes information from our research and presents it in a bit of a non-technical manner for a broad audience of users. And then we have our popular charts of note that come out Monday through Friday. One chart, 250 words of text drawn from our research and data. And I have a few examples I'll share. We also encourage our staff to stay engaged in the scientific community, and they primarily do that by continuing publications in the peer-reviewed literature. In this past year, we had over 100 journal articles that were published in that format as a way to make sure that we're staying abreast of the scientific advances in the field of economics and contributing to those. And then we host webinars regularly. We did 8 last year. One of the more popular ones, the webinars that we do 3 times a year on farm income and household well-being that many of you probably have participated in. If you go to the next slide, please. Some examples of our recent ERS reports. We had about 50 that fall into this category of these deep dives into various topics. Some of these are recurring reports that we do every year, like our household food security, which you can see on the top row, the cover of that, as well as we do an international food security assessment and an outlook on U.S. ag trade. Other reports come out a little less frequently. One that we've done recently that we get a lot of demand for is the major land uses in the United States. That's in the bottom right corner. That's a report that we do more on a periodic basis, but was highly anticipated. And then some of the other emerging topics that we've explored this past year, we've done research on solar and wind development and its relationship with the agricultural sector, as well as looking at food security between civilian and military populations. All of these reports are available on our website. There's a publications tab that you can drop down and search by title or subject matter and such. You could go to the next slide, please. Data products. We put out about 80 data products every year. Some of these are data products that we update monthly alongside the situation and outlook reports that we do. Others are updated less frequently depending on data availability. Most of them are synthesis of data that come from a variety of sources, including NASS and other federal statistical agencies. Some are surveys that we do ourselves. Others are data that we procure and have some value added in terms of presenting in a way that's useful across a broad spectrum of stakeholders. A couple of updates I just want to provide is one of our major pushes in this past fiscal year, as well as coming forward into the next fiscal year, is making sure that every single data product that we put out is available in a machine readable format and is 508 compliant. Right now, we're working on our specialty crops data suite. So hopefully those data will be useful for those of you who want to use them in some kind of statistical or analytical way. And then we also recently updated our agricultural baseline data to 2033. These are projections for the next 10 years across the agricultural commodity sector. And we simultaneously released our new international baseline data as well. You could go to the next slide. Many of our data are available in what we call these data visualizations formats, mostly through the Tableau platform. Some examples here. These are really nice because they allow you through drop-down menus to explore the data in formats that may work a little bit better for you or be more tailored to what your interests are. You could go to the next slide. I mentioned the Amber Waves magazine earlier. These are articles that we put out. We usually do little less than a dozen of those every month. They're a synthesis of some of our more technical research and compiling information that we've done across some of the different publication format. They tend to be very popular. They allow you to go link to the more complete or more in-depth reports if you're interested, but tend to synthesize the information that we have in our research reports in a bit of a non-technical manner. And then, of course, I mentioned our charts of note as well. One thing that we did start doing a couple of years ago is we do an annual Amber Waves in Review, where we compile in one place about 10 or 12 of the most popular, most downloaded, most cited Amber Waves articles. And it's a nice way to kind of get a sense of the full scope of research conducted by ERS. Go to the next slide. I mentioned some of our charts of note. Here's just an example. Every chart of note comes in, just like I said, one chart, 250 words of text drawn from our research. We try to highlight some of the topical issues that are happening at the time or at any one given point in time. Some of the popular ones here, you see this dollar here, this food dollar that we put out. We'll update that every year, showing different components of a dollar that go to various sectors. This one that is example here is across the marketing and farm components. We've done some recent work on aquaculture and seafood imports and exports. You'll see in the upper left corner. And then I will highlight that we have done some work with NASS, highlighting some of this information from the Census of Agriculture. And we work collectively or collaboratively with NASS on putting out these charts, and they're branded a little bit with this 2022 Census of Agriculture. You'll see an example of one in the lower left corner of the slide. And that's been a really nice way to highlight both economic research as well as information from the 2022 Census of Agriculture. Could go to the next slide. And I talked a little bit of detail about this. Here's another example. This is a chart showing U.S. farms and ranches with renewable energy systems in 2022. And the text or the backstory for this is that we show that about 8% of farms across the United States have some form of renewable energy system, and the different color coding is showing the percent of the national system that comes from that particular state, is showing a lot of it is coming from California. So go to the next slide. Some emerging issues. That's a big part of our research portfolio and our mission. Right now, we've been doing a lot of work to inform Farm Bill discussions. I'll talk about a little bit more in a few minutes about that. I had mentioned earlier that we're doing some work on military food security. This top chart here is showing military or food security between the civilian and military populations, showing that higher rates of food insecurity in those military populations or active duty service members. And very recently, we don't even have charts out on it yet, but we've been doing some work on the impacts on the agricultural sector as a result of both hurricanes Milton and Helene, and showing, providing some data for the department as to what those impacts might be on various agricultural production that occurs in states that have, in areas that have been affected by those natural disasters. Go to the next slide. We have recently started putting out some what we call Farm Bill First Fridays. So the first Friday of every month, we've been putting out some specific Amber Waves articles that are related to topics and titles within the Farm Bill. They're branded by this Farm Bill related research logo in the bottom right corner. So if you're interested specifically in what ERS is, the information we're providing, you can look for those. Like I said, those are coming out on the first Friday of every month. And next slide here. And just some examples of ERS in the news, places where our research has been cited or quoted. There's lots more than I can put in one slide, but these are just some of the examples of things that have been picked up by different news outlets. And the final slide, it is just different ways to follow us on social media or subscribing to our updates. You can get a weekly digest of things that are coming out in that coming week if you'd like, or visit our website. I look forward to questions tomorrow and encourage you to attend the ERS breakout session where we'll do a deep dive into our cotton data tomorrow afternoon. So thank you. And I think I turn it over to the Farm Services Agency. Here we go.
Thank you, Kelly. This is Tim Gravelin. I'm FSA's Data and Analytics Officer. We've got some new things that have happened since we last met in April that I want to go through with you guys today from FSA. You can also find these things in the booklet that Lance spoke to earlier. So first off, I'd like to thank NASS for having us here. FSA is a producer of a lot of important farm data, as well as a consumer from a number of the sister agencies that you've heard from already. First thing I want to go through is in May, Farm Service Agency partnered with FarmRaise, and you can find this in your booklet. You can also, in your Google browser, type FarmRaise FSA Educational Hub. What I want to draw your attention to is a decision support tool for our emergency assistance for livestock, honeybees, and farm-raised fish program, a program we call the ELAP program. We partnered with FarmRaise to make a decision support tool for our producers. I want to draw your attention to that. That's a neat tool and helpful for our producers. That launched in May. Following up on that, in June, we announced a new opening of sign up for the Food Safety Certification for Specialty Crops program. This is a program that is designed for specialty crop growers so they can apply for reimbursement of expenses related to obtaining or renewing their food safety certifications. There is a sign-up period for that. Interested applicants have until January 31st to apply for that 2024 assistance, and they have until January 1st is when the sign up for 2025 begins. So 24 year ends on the 31st of January, the 25 year starts on the 1st of January. That's for our food safety and certification program. Also in June, we launched a new portion of that ELAP program. This is assistance for dairy producers to offset the H5N1, also known as the highly pathogenic avian influenza, H5N1. Infections in dairy herds, essentially dairy cows that have tested positive for that through APHIS can apply for and receive assistance under our ELAP program at FSA. In September, we launched a financial distressed farmers and ranchers initiative. It's designed to provide support to financially distressed farmers, ranchers across the nation. It was announced at Farm Aid in New York in September. You can find a lot more information on that in the booklet. There's a link directly to that initiative and the types of things that it covers. It's got some loan assistance tools and a lot of good education on FSA's farm loan programs. Also in September, FSA announced $58 million in additional assistance to organic dairy producers. This is marketing assistance to producers to encourage the consumption of organic dairy. That's a program that we call the Organic Dairy Marketing Assistance Program, or ODMAP. Lastly, we have some new data available for you guys. FSA has launched a new public Tableau dashboard for the emergency relief program for 2022 program year. So far to date, FSA has distributed more than $2.1 billion in payments under the ERP 2022 program. You may remember in April, we showed the original emergency relief program, and we showed the dashboard for that. We've now launched a public dashboard for the ERP 2022 program, and it shows you disbursements by state, shows you a heat map of where the applicants are coming from and where the payments are being dispersed under the emergency relief program authorized by Congress. Other new things happening at FSA. Just last Friday, we posted the 2024 crop acreage reporting data file. That is through October 1st. So a lot of you may know about that file. It contains the states, counties, crops, crop types, intended uses, irrigation practice, and the number of planted, prevented, failed acres, etc. So very detailed data file with nearly 200,000 rows of data on plantings for producers in the United States. And then just off the press, FSA has an annual October payment run, we call it. There were big things happening just last week on that. The agricultural risk coverage, price loss coverage, which is FSA's largest permanent farm program as authorized under the Farm Bill, ran its 2023 ARC PLC payment run for October last week and dispersed more than $400 million worth of assistance to producers in the United States, with the top state in terms of dispersed payments being Kansas. Another big item that happened at FSA last week was our annual October payment run for the Conservation Reserve Program, a major program that provides assistance for producers to allow for the conservation of the land, especially on highly erodible lands and wetlands. That payment run occurred last week, and it dispersed more than $1.7 billion to producers in the United States, with the top state, as usual, being Iowa on the Conservation Reserve Program. Those are the updates I had to share. Look forward to your questions and talking with you guys later in the day and tomorrow. Thank you. I'll turn it over to AMS now.
Thank you. My name is Jason Carwell. I'm currently the acting director for Specialty Crops Market News and AMS. Today, I want to briefly highlight AMS and provide some details on some of the work that our agency has accomplished over the recent past and some new items we have planned coming soon. With over 4,000 dedicated professionals, AMS tirelessly supports a diverse array of agricultural operations, from individual farmers to international businesses, by providing invaluable services and creating opportunities for economic development in the agricultural industry. The support that AMS extends through various commodity-specific programs, including dairy, specialty crops, livestock, poultry and grain, cotton and tobacco, and the Federal Grain Inspection Service. AMS also includes a national organic program, science and technology program, transportation and marketing program. In addition, AMS provides regulatory oversight to 20 research and promotion programs, enforcing critical federal regulations like the Packers and Stockyards Act, Perishable Agricultural Commodities Act, and the Seed Act. A vital part of AMS's mission involves our data offerings. AMS Market News continues to be the cornerstone of that data, providing free, unbiased, and comprehensive price and sales information. This resource aids farmers, producers, and businesses in making informed decisions by evaluating market conditions, transportation costs, and more. Through the market news data platforms on My Market News and Datamart, AMS offers access to over 1,500 reports and data sets that are updated on a regular basis. Additionally, through our Market News APIs, users can download data in custom formats, enabling efficient and tailored access to the vital information. AMS Market News will also offer still offers the USDA Market News mobile application that's available for download in both the Apple and Google app stores. This app further ensures instant access to market news reports and data that cover a wide range of commodities. In the recent past, Market News has started developing tools on Tableau visualization analytics platform that offer more dynamic interaction with our data for users who might lack resources to manage a larger data sets. These tools level the playing field, providing enhanced insight and ensuring all users, regardless of their data volume, can compete effectively in the market. During the second breakout of the session this afternoon, our staff will be demoing our latest dashboard, which is the LMR Live Cattle Dashboard, and it is our most recent example we have of this. These innovative tools have proved to be essential for providing market transparency and supporting informed decision-making within the agricultural industry that have become increasingly popular with our users. These dashboards provide producers with the capability to access and analyze current market data with more detail, and we plan to release more types of these reports for other commodity data sets in the future. AMS continues to work directly with many states through our federal state cooperative agreements. These partnerships enhance our market reporting activities across 30 different states, where we can leverage resources at both federal and state levels to expand the breadth and depth of our market reports. This collaborative effort is crucial in providing comprehensive and cost-saving coverage of local markets. Through the Organic Data Initiative, AMS has continued to enhance the collection and distribution of organic production and marketing data. From specialty crops to dairy to livestock, our comprehensive market data sets ensure the availability of critical information for a wide array of organic products. AMS's leadership is still also involved in the Market Information Organization of the Americas, or MIOA. MIOA highlights AMS's commitment to international collaboration. MIOA harmonizes efforts across 33 countries to support trade and economic development through reliable market data. In addition to these collaborative efforts, each market news division continues to work on projects that are unique to the commodities that they cover. The Livestock, Poultry, and Grain Market News Division is focused on improving customer experience with greater access to data through modern tools, ensuring that they stay on the forefront of market reporting. They are continuing with the impact work driven by the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2022, which led to the establishment of the Cattle Contracts Library pilot program. This was aimed at increasing market transparency for cattle producers. This initiative first became accessible in January of 2023 and continues to provide valuable insight into contracts between packers and cattle producers, highlighting commodities and key differences of offering context through relative volume buyers. In October of 2023, AMS announced the continuation of the CCL in its present form. Updated weekly, the CCL equips cattle producers with essential information to make informed marketing and business decisions. And unlike traditional market news reports, CCL also utilizes dynamic Tableau visualization that I previously mentioned. This format offers users enhanced insights through intuitive data interaction. The Cotton and Tobacco Market News Division continues to work diligently to add the Cotton Prices Report series to our My Market News platform and API service. These updates will reflect changes in the quantities of cotton produced and traded by unifying the report layouts. Dairy Market News Division continues to update their report market offerings by improved report readability and consistency. Consolidations in market commentaries reflect regional market conditions, enhancing the clarity of the reports. Updates to the API and additional resources have also been made available to meet customer needs. State-based farm gate organic milk price reports for Vermont and Pennsylvania have also been added to our offerings, along with reports for mandatory dairy product survey prices and federal order statistics. Specialty Crops Market News Division has also continued to transition the reports and data sets to the My Market News platform and API service with the successful launch of their retail terminal and shipping point market types with the movement market type expected to be finished here by the end of the calendar year. With these updates, Specialty Crops Market News is now reporting over 785 unique specialty crops commodities at various market levels. The Transportation and Marketing Program in AMS continues to update its ag transport platform that offers access to USDA data for timely market decisions about moving agricultural products within the U.S. This open data platform includes numerous data sets and dashboards about various transportation modes. Recent additions include the fertilizer transportation dashboard and the Pacific Northwest barge rate data series, providing broader visibility to grain transportation market. That wraps up what I have to present today. I want to thank everyone for their attention and continued support. And again, remind you of the breakout we have this afternoon where we'll be demonstrating our LMR live cattle dashboard. And we'll also be available tomorrow to answer any questions from the group. Thank you. I think now turn it over to U.S. Census Bureau.
Hello, thank you, Jason. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Joseph Campo with the U.S. Census Bureau. As always, I'd like to thank our colleagues at the USDA for inviting us to be a part of this event. I am the section supervisor over foods and textiles in the International Trade Indicator Microanalysis Branch of the Economic Indicators Division. Our group analyzes the underlying import and export data that goes into the monthly International Trade in Goods and Services press release, the FT900, which is a joint release with Stats Canada and the Bureau of Economic Analysis. As I'm sure you all know, we'll be releasing our September data on November the 5th. And as always, all of our trade data is available on USA Trade online for free. For any additional information, please consult the booklet that was provided for this meeting. Thank you, and I look forward to a good discussion this week.
All right. Thank you to all of our panelists. Really appreciate the updates from everybody there. And just a reminder to all the participants, the panelists will all be back online with us live tomorrow at noon for the Q&A session. So any questions you've got based on anything they shared today, or maybe just some questions you already had about things happening at the various agencies, we will be sure and get those answered for you there. Just a couple of quick things I want to share before we wrap up this particular session. First off, when we met last back in the spring, I believe we had announced that NASS's recent administrator, Hubert Hamer, was retiring. Since we have met, we do have a new administrator. Joe Parsons is the NASS administrator. That was announced back in June. So hopefully you were aware of that. Many of you, I'm sure, know Joe from his many years here at NASS, including the previous host of this event here. And so I think you've probably had an opportunity to come in contact with him, but just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that change. And then just a couple of quick housekeeping items before we transition you over to the breakouts this afternoon. Unlike years past when it was virtual, we don't have different links for you to use this afternoon. Since we are not doing concurrent breakout sessions, we're able to just keep this Zoom link going. And so if you want to join in either or both of the breakout sessions this afternoon, you can just stay connected. You don't need to log out of this session and log back in. So you're certainly free to do that. Hopefully that'll simplify things, certainly simplified things on our end. I hope it makes it simpler for you as well. And then last but not least, this is the last time you'll see me this afternoon, as we're just going to kind of transition through these breakout sessions. And so once we finish that second breakout session this afternoon, that will end this afternoon's festivities. So for my part, I want to thank you for joining us here today and remind you to make sure you join us again starting at noon Eastern time tomorrow afternoon for the rest of our sessions. But for now, I hope you're able to stick around and join these next two breakout sessions that we have. It'll be a great opportunity to dig a little bit deeper into these topics that you see we'll be covering this afternoon. So with that, we'll take a short break. We plan to start that first breakout session on the 2022 Census of Ag results right about 1 o'clock Eastern time this afternoon. So thank you again, and hopefully we'll see you in a few minutes.